Media. My name is Mike, your host, and today we're back again with We Need to Talk. This video just dropped like an hour or two ago, or maybe longer than that. I don't know, but it's new. I haven't seen it. We're going to watch it, so let's go.
Well, I wouldn't say that I talk over a guy every time he's trying to express how he feels.
Do you think you're aware? Do you think you're aware?
Not all the time. I'm not aware.
That's the point. And you don't know that one time that like did it for him, where he's like, she don't want to hear what I have to say.
Listen, it's the message right here.
Copyrights? No. We move it on. Let's see. Here.
And you're a man. You're a black man in particular. What kind of black man would you be?
Oh, this one again.
I would be. I don't know. I would just be cool.
What does cool look like?
I would be.
Exactly. What does that mean?
I would want to be educated. Well, I would be educated. And I would be, I don't know, more in touch with my feelings.
What does that look like? What does in touch with your feelings look like?
No, it isn't.
Because we get that criticism a lot. Like we're not in touch enough with our feelings.
Right.
So
and
what
I
would
don't feel
that
like,
look
I don't feel
like
like the whole world should have to nurture you to be in touch with your feelings. You know, this whole thing is going on about men's mental health. Well, women have been going through things for centuries, and we have to deal with it regardless. So,
and the question was, what type of man would you like to be? But all of a sudden, we're having a conversation. She just moved the goalpost to talk about women's mental health. Not high level conversation. Yeah, that's a little disappointing. I got faith in Alan. I'm sure he will clarify what he means and get us back on track. Please, because I don't want to go down a rabbit hole.
I feel like as a human, if you know that you have mental issues, you should get help or do whatever you need to do to deal with that. Like, just because you're a man doesn't mean, like, you decide not to feel feelings or, have emotions and things like that. So,
who is a man that you feel like, and it could be a celebrity, it could be a movie character that is in touch with their feelings? Because if we're going to criticize men, we have to
insert crickets. The real question is she is the concept that she's talking about, is it a Disney fairy tale? Let's see what she answers with.
To give them something to strive towards. Be more like.
I don't know, because I don't know any men celebrities. Like, we don't really know them. We don't know if they are in touch with their feelings.
But just based on their
I would
persona.
say maybe... I don't know. How
much you want to bet this woman is single? Because what it's starting to sound like is that she doesn't know men that well, and she has this unrealistic expectation of how men are supposed to be. It's very dangerous to do that because it means that no one would ever live up to your expectations. That goes back to what we were talking about before about, once you get married, if all you've seen is, people, you've been paying attention to the Disney fairy tale of they got married and everything just worked out and they went down the road happily ever after. Well, it's fruit from the poisonous tree. What I mean by that is that if your expectations are this is how things are going to go, and they don't work out like that, and you're just willing to you have to throw the whole tree away. When the real issue is that you weren't raised to work in cooperation with a man, so you don't understand how we think or why we do the things we do. So again, that question about what type of man would you be is a great opener for a high level conversation. It's always interesting to see how women answer it, but this is all right. Let's keep going. It's got to get. Alan has a history of it getting better, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's go.
Who do I feel like is in touch with their feelings? I don't know. Maybe like, I feel like Chris Brown is.
Okay,
Chris
okay.
Brown.
Let me indulge you for the sake of this.
I feel like
What
he
about
is.
Chris Brown makes you feel like he's in touch with his feelings? He gets it.
His music, his art, and his way of expressing himself.
What if he's not writing his own songs?
Uh-oh.
He's singing it the way he wants.
He took that in a different direction than I would have went because Chris Brown's past says, well, hey, okay.
Wants to sing it.
So it's not about being.
And he has to have some kind of attachment to it.
So it's not about being in touch with your feelings. It's about being able to display as if you are.
No.
Okay, explain.
Because that's what I
That's what she just said. You can't make this stuff up, man. That's what she just said. He just said, well, what if he's not writing his own lyrics? Well, he can show it. That's what she just said. Oh, my God, bro. Come on.
just said. We don't know if they're really in touch with their feelings or not. They could just be pretending. You know? A lot of people pretend. And then a lot of y'all pretend and then go to say, oh, I'm really sad. Well, then you shouldn't have pretended to be something.
Who is she talking about? She just said that she can't think of anybody. But all of a sudden, oh, that's what y'all do. Well, who is y'all? You just said you couldn't name anybody.
You weren't.
Do you know why men do that?
Why?
Because they feel like women aren't ready for our emotions.
Why?
Yeah.
Because no one is saying that.
Because women are not equipped to handle masculine problems.
Your feelings aren't valid ever.
Everybody's saying that.
How?
To be a man.
I feel like men feel like that because we say something about the stuff that we don't like. Like, men are used to us being quiet. I mean, women have been downplayed for a long time now. Like, being told to just be in the house and have kids and cook and clean, and now being told to cook and clean and go to work and pay 50-50 on the bills. And
if the discussion was about men, why are we talking about women?
so, I mean, women have to deal with the same thing.
So you say women have to deal with this.
No, she did not just say that. Is she trying to hint that men and women are the same?
Same thing as men.
No.
Okay, so what do
As
you
far
know-
as mental issues and mental health, women have mental health issues just as much as men, I feel like. Just because men feel like they can't speak on it, well, maybe you need to learn how to speak on it and be more open and say how you really feel instead of...
But my question to you was, why do men feel that way?
This is another woman who does not put any thought into the male experience. You should just speak up and that'll solve all your issues. Yeah, because no man has ever said that. Men don't say anything about how they're feeling. Now, what generally tends to happen is that if we start talking about that, it's met with negative responses. So, remember that men don't like to argue, particularly with women, because you know what? There's not that much information out there on this one, so I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. But I can give you guys a key here. Yeah, men don't like arguing with women. We don't, and it's the same thing with competition. We don't like competing with women. Why? Because it's a hollow victory. It's literally that thing of, well, you beat a girl, and but if we lose, you lost to a girl. It's a lose-lose situation. That's why we don't compete. That's why we don't like competing with women. It's the same thing. We don't like arguing with women. Why? Because women tend to get emotional. And once those flare up, it doesn't matter what your argument is. Most cases, the guy ends up taking the L. Why? Because it's not worth. Men know that there are times that it's better to take the loss and win the war. It's not worth blowing it up because, well, look, we getting off topic. Let's get back into it.
Maybe because we talk over them.
Like now.
Yeah. Yes.
Why
I mean,
else?
but that comes from just, I don't know. I guess, I don't know where it comes from.
Talk over them or instantly change the issue to make it to where that women are more important.
I guess that's just being a woman. Just always having something to say.
So, are we creating the environment to encourage men to be what we are penalizing them for not being?
Uh-oh.
So we're
No.
saying men should be more emotional, but just based on your admission, we don't create an environment for men to be emotional. So how can men do that thing?
Why don't men feel like they can be emotional? Like, if women don't know what is making you feel like that, how can we ever fix it? Like, y'all always say men have mental issues, men are going through things too. I'll validate that, yes. Men go through a lot of things and have a lot of pressures and things that they have to get done that women don't have to worry about. But if you
We're going to go back because something tells me I missed something. I just need to check and see.
ever fix it, like y'all always say, men have mental issues, men are.
So, are we creating the environment to encourage men to be what we are penalizing them for not being? So we're
No.
saying men should be more emotional, but just based on your admission, we don't create an environment for men to be emotional. So how can men do that thing?
Why don't men feel like
Okay. So, did she just talk over him before he finished his thought? Literally what they were just talking about. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I'm open to that possibility. Maybe he finished his thought and she just had impeccable timing to literally, as soon as he finished the sentence, already start her what she wanted to say. Maybe it's just me. I could be wrong though,
they can be emotional? Like, if women don't know what is making you feel like that, how can we ever fix it? Like, y'all always say men have mental issues, men are going through things too. I'll validate that, yes. Men go through a lot of things and have a lot of pressures and things that they have to get done that women don't have to worry about. But if you guys are not saying why you feel like that, then we won't know. I can't pull it out of you and make you feel like I know what's going on if I don't. Like, and same vice versa. Like, how can I expect you to understand how I feel if I'm not saying how I feel? I guess we need to make y'all more comfortable with us as much as we feel comfortable with y'all. Cause if I'm close with whoever I'm with, I mean, that comfort level, I mean, that makes it to where you can talk about anything. And
I agree with her 100%. Here's the problem though. She's saying it's comfortable enough. What did the guy say though? Because it's the guy that's wanting to talk about these things. But if he's not discussing it with you, then obviously it's not a safe environment. And even though you say it is, it's up to the guy. That's his decision to make, whether or not it is or it isn't. Something tells me that he didn't. Well, okay, let me stop because we ain't got there yet. So let's just play the video.
vent about anything. So maybe it's just a comfort thing. And if you don't feel comfortable, maybe you shouldn't be dealing with that person.
She's still with that guy?
Do you remember a time in history where men were emotional? Can you think of one time?
Crickets?
No, because every time a man is emotional, we get past the emotional part and it's already escalated to like.
But yet and still, remember, if we go back to the beginning of the conversation, well, this is what men need to do. This is the type of man I would be, right? But you literally have never met a man like that in history. I mean, unless you've never been attracted to another guy in your whole life, this doesn't make any sense. I'm so lost right now. I'm lost. I don't know.
Like maybe a fight or an argument or something like that. So.
And that's my point. We don't need more emotional men, because there's never been a time where emotions or being emotional has served men. Men were warriors. Men were builders of industry. Men were scientists. Men were farmers. There wasn't any time to be emotional. So again, I think the problem is women are asking for something that they don't fully understand. And they can't fully appreciate or empathize with where men are coming from.
Okay.
Men aren't like, we're not built like that. And the way that we show and we express emotion is through our thoughts primarily. But if we're having a conversation and the woman insists on talking over the guy, he's just going to be like,
Well, I wouldn't say that I talk over a guy every time he's trying to.
She just did it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my. Oh no. You can't be serious. He's literally talking about women over talking a guy, and she's over talking him. I don't. She can't know she does this, because I don't think she's doing it on purpose. I think it's. Let's go.
Express how we feel.
Do you think you're aware? Do you think you're aware?
Not all the time. I'm not.
That's
aware.
the point. And you don't know that one time that like did it for him, where he's like, she don't want to hear what I have to say.
Okay, so maybe just creating an open, comfortable environment for you guys.
How about just not being rude and let the person talk? Especially if you're in an interview and the host is talking to you. This is a problem I have, and man, I see this so much in the gender wars, particularly on specific shows. Again, I've done reviews on that channel, Fresh and Fit, notorious for that. People overtalk the host all day long. It makes for great content because you get an argument from it, right? But think about it like this. Ladies, if you're watching this, right? You think about the daytime talk shows where women are the hosts. How often do you see men over there going on that show and then they just overtalk the host? It don't happen. Why? Because the producer is back there saying, during the commercial break, they say, hey, look, if you can't let so-and-so talk, we're just going to move on to the next guest. Yeah, because over-talking people is rude, especially when you're in a situation where you have a host or somebody who's conducting an interview. It comes off as being, well, let's keep going, because I'm trying not to go down a rabbit hole here.
Would help. But like I said, when it gets to that point, you guys will have already cheated, or we've already gotten a fight, or it's already escalated to a point. Like, I feel like y'all wait too late as well. Like, you don't say anything, or you don't relay that information in time because you were too, I don't know, scared, intimidated.
Shaming language.
That's the thing. I don't think women are clear on what they want from us. Because if you're too emotional, I don't feel safe. I can't deal with your emotions. Or sometimes you make his emotions about you. Babe, right now I feel insecure. I don't feel like I'm on my purpose, whatever the case may be. And the woman, whether she says it or not, it's like, am I not doing anything good enough? Is he thinking about another bitch, or whatever the case may be? So men, in order to not, because men are problem solvers.
Yes.
So why would I put myself in a situation to create a problem? Because we know how y'all work. We have to.
But when you say y'all, it's not every woman.
Most women.
But you can't You're making it seem like every single last relationship, a man can't say how they really feel. I mean, how do marriages last? Like, how do people stay together as long as they do? Like, obviously, some men are.
Newsflash. Well, you know what? Wow, man. There's so much to unpack here, and okay, you know what? I'm gonna save it to the end. Let's keep going.
Maybe you need to interview married men
I have.
to figure out why they feel comfortable with who
They
they're
don't
with.
either. They don't
Then why
either.
are they married? I would never be with someone. That's the thing too. You guys force yourself to be with people that you're not compatible with, or you feel these things and you just force it. Find someone that you can talk to, that you don't feel like.
It doesn't work like that.
Yes, it does work like that. I'm single. I'm not gonna.
If most women do that, then where does that leave a guy who wants to be married and have a family? Again, this woman has no clue of the male perspective. I'm starting to wonder, was she raised with her father in her life? Because these are things that, you know, you can pick up on when there's another male, when there's a man in the house.
Settle for someone that I can't talk to. Like, that's stupid.
The reason I say it doesn't work like that is if men are saying to you that most of the women I come across in my life, not even just from a romantic standpoint, most of the women I come across are not good listeners. If I still want to like be a husband, have a wife, I might compromise that. I might say, you know what? I might have to settle in that department.
Bingo.
Now, women can't compute because y'all feel like you don't have to settle for anything. But men settle a lot. There's a lot of married men that are miserable. And to that point, that's why, was it
That's
54?
why y'all deal with so much. That's dumb.
54% of marriages end in divorce, 80% are initiated by the woman. I take it a step further in saying that even though 80% are initiated by the woman, sometimes the men are already checked out. Because again, women don't feel like there's anything wrong with them. And men feel like, well, she doesn't feel like there's anything wrong with her. She can't improve. So I'm going to just bite the bullet. I'm going to just deal with, because men try. They try to do right, quote unquote, by the woman. But a lot of y'all are like unshakable.
What about the ones that are not like that, that are shakeable?
They're few and far between.
Exceptions don't make the rule. If you're a guy, and like I said before, because he's 100% right. If you want to get married and have a family, there's going to be some things that you have to compromise on. And again, I'll save it for the end. Let's just keep going.
And the thing is, I wish that wasn't the case, but even in my experience, they're few and far between. Most women are terrible listeners, and I interview women all the time. Horrendous listeners.
Okay.
I could count on one hand how many were good listeners. And that says something, because these aren't women that I've dealt with on some level. These aren't women that, you know, it's been a romantic situation. This is just people I've come across in life, at work, whatever the case.
Okay, we know where he's going with that. No need to finish it. Go ahead and check out We Need to Talk, because like I said, this brother is doing these one-on-one interviews, and I think that you know, he's starting to break these conversations down, one person at a time. Is that going to take forever? Yeah, but right now I think that it's necessary. So what are my thoughts on this? Well, again, you know, this woman is not much different from the other ones that we see on these on channels like this, where they literally have no clue to the male experience, and when you ask them about it, you get a lot of crickets. You know, what type of man would you be? Or I would be in touch with my emotions. Do you know a man who is like that? Have you ever met a man, or have you seen a man who was ever like that? Well, no. Then how do you know that's what you really? How do you know what type of man? That tells me that women are not interested in a man like that, because they're literally, you don't see them. Are they out there? More than likely they are. They're just not seen by women. They're not attractive. So, you know, more proof that a lot of times women don't know what they want. Now, this woman in particular, she was just all over the place with stuff. A lot of the times I got the impression that she was just saying stuff because it sounded good, or she wanted to make herself look good on camera. Whether or not she believes some of this stuff, she probably does, but it didn't translate well. I mean, because you saw what happened when Alan gave her some pushback on some things, and she had to sit there and think about it. It was like, oh, and then she'll double down on it, and it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you say that? But again, maybe it's just me. Sound off in the comments if you sharing the way that I felt while watching this. I was so confused. It's because she would say one thing, and then the host would probe deeper into it, and then she would totally contradict herself. Yeah. But that whole conversation about men settling, yeah. And guess what? If the majority of women out here are not willing to settle, then guess who is settling? The men. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But we also have to acknowledge the fact that that women are not equipped to handle masculine problems, and the biggest reason is because they tend not to care. That's just what it is. That's not a positive or a negative. It just tells you that when you have issues, then you should be consorting with other men instead of women. Well, if you look, I'm not going to say that there aren't women out there who you can't share your issues with, particularly if you're married. Because if you're married, then you 100% need to be talking to your wife. I mean, lack of communication is a big reason for divorce, specifically in the U.S. So you definitely need to be doing that. The trick is that you got to marry a woman who is open to communication from the male perspective. A lot of women are not, sadly. Now, could that be changing? Possibly. I don't know. I've never talked to the host, but I think that could be possibly one of the goals of the channel like this, to where you're having these one-on-one conversations. Because ultimately, we got to start asking, like, where is this going? But yeah, guys, we're gonna leave it there. The format here is these interviews are obviously broken up, so it's interesting to see what it's like versus the beginning of the interview versus the end. And then I don't know why I never addressed this before, but he's had repeat guests. So one of these days we're going to react to some of these women coming back on the channel after their interview, and they've gotten some feedback and they can see what people are saying. They can watch themselves on camera and say, oh man, well, I didn't really mean that. Because I've noticed he does that. He's done that before. Well, he'll give women a chance to come back and address the things that were being said in the interview, which is a novel concept. I'm highly appreciative of it because, again, it leads to more high-level conversations. Again, the goal here is that we need each other, so we got to create more married couples out there, specifically if we're talking about, making improvements in our community. If you don't care about that, then, you don't need to get married then. So, hey, but I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace. Thanks for making it to the end of this video, but do me another favor, like and subscribe, but also check out these here. Either subscribe or watch videos, one or the other. I don't know which side, but hey, all right.